First time I saw him was at Claiborne Farm with Mr. Phipps as a yearling. Extremely mature, body-wise type of a horse. Little bit kind of back in his knees, but had to, I remember worrying just a little bit on soundness issue, but, obviously love what I saw. You had to love the pedigree, Alidar out of relaxing. We got back on the plane to come home, and Mr. Phipps looks at me and said, well, I think the relaxing. First time I saw him was at Claiborne Farm with Mr. Phipps as a yearling. Extremely mature, body-wise type of a horse. Little bit kind of back in his knees, but had to, I remember worrying just a little bit on soundness issue, but, obviously love what I saw. You had to love the pedigree, Alidar out of relaxing. He had some shins on him, and I had to take care of them after the Breeders' Cup, and which we did, and had to give him, 35 days off or something. But I remember, I was pointing him for the swale because I knew where that was. And I remember up in February, he was breathing and stuff, and I felt like that, I said, this horse is getting ahead of me a little bit. He's ready to run right now, and I didn't think he was ready to, I was getting him ready to run, but he'd gotten himself ready to run too. So he came around quite a bit. When he was young as a 2-year-old, even before he ran, he would breathe fine, but someplace in there he would do something that was quick. Might not be the last quarter mile, it might not be the first quarter mile, might be somewhere in the middle somewhere. He might throw in an 8 and 11 and change or something, and those kind of things. But the light never went off until till after he ran the first time. Well, we were very confident. We thought we had the best horse, but I was 37 years old going up against Charlie Whittingham. And I remember when Sunday Silence won the Santa Anita Derby, I said on TV, I wish somebody else besides Charlie Whittingham was training him. Because, he was a master. And, I knew when he came over there, he would be well tuned. And, but I think that, I don't know if the result would have been any different, but we just called a racetrack that day at Louisville that Goer didn't like. And, I think when I ran my flag in the Kentucky Oaks, she didn't like it. And, after it was over with, Pat Day told me that, I never really had a horse at any time. I'm blaming the track, and we went on, packed our bags and went back to New York. I knew that after the Preakness, I said, we're equal to this horse, and, we'll go back to Belmont Park, and we're gonna have a big chance if everything goes right. It was a funny run race, and I can say it now. I never said it, while he was still riding, but Pat Day came back to the barn, and we went in a room, and I shut the door, and he looked at me and said, I got him beat. End of the story as far as I was concerned. Opened the door and came back out. Obviously, I didn't tell the press that or anybody else. I have mentioned a time or two since he's retired from riding, but, and I don't think anybody could have done a better job on him than he did because, he did have a few issues that we had to work on. And, I think every time that Pat Day rode him, he brought me back some horse. In the Preakness, I don't think he moved too soon. I think he waited when he didn't need to wait. If we had him beat, I thought, and then he let him get back in the race. As of being a revenge factor or, denying Sunday Silence winning the Triple Crown, that was not what we were doing. We were trying to win a classic race and win the Belmont. Mr. Phipps had never won a classic race. I'd never won one, and obviously the horse hadn't. So, that's what we went into it trying to do. And when we came back from Pimlico, everything went right for us. That horse he was thriving on racing, and he was doing great. He loved being back at Belmont. We were comfortable being back at Belmont. And, I had a little bit of a different game plan, and it worked. And so we weren't thrilled. We were thrilled to death to win the Belmont. Well, I think he was the most talented horse I've ever had. He was, what he did. As you know, I mean, as a 2-year-old, he ran into July, ran at Saratoga. He ran 3 times at Belmont in the fall. Being allowance race at Cowden and Champaign. He ran in the Breeders' Cups. Then we came back, and as a 3-year-old, he ran in the Swale, the Gotham, the Wood Memorial, the Triple Crown races, the Whitney, the Woodward, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and the Travers and the Breeders' Cup. You know, and was competitive in all of them. And you know, you just don't see that anymore. So I do think talent-wise, he was, you know, I've got to give him, he was probably the best horse I ever had. You know, Easy Goer meant a lot to me because I was a young guy. I was young with the Phipps family. You know, obviously I was trying to uphold the confidence they had in hiring me and, you know, and trying to deliver, you know, what they wanted. And, you know, I got that horse.